Friends, I would never be here as your rabbi had Rabbi Susie Moskowitz not been very convincing and persistent when she asked me to join our synagogue's youth group when I was 14. I didn't want to go, but I soon found that I loved it. We did lots of social justice projects. We celebrated Shabbat together. We studied Jewish values. And we sang. We had a couple of teen leaders who loved to play the guitar. And we often sang late into the night. I learned the American folk canon, from James Taylor to Indigo Girls. And one afternoon this summer, Haley and I were at a friend's house on Shelter Island with Goldie and George. We had dinner on their deck, and then dusk was falling. And the kids were all running around barefoot, chasing fireflies. They were laughing and carefree. It was storybook. And Joni Mitchell's words filled my mind.
Yesterday, a child came out to wonder, caught a dragonfly inside a jar. Fearful when the sky was full of thunder, and tearful at the falling of a star.
Our twins, Goldie and George, are 5.5. And this is the age of wonder. This summer, they went on their first roller coaster. They saw their first fireworks show and went to their first baseball game. And yet, they are still a bit afraid of thunder. And they asked me not to yell or clap too loud when I'm watching the Giants game. More significantly, I've found that the age of wonder is when they ask the best questions. And when I can answer them, I feel like a hero. Who's the fastest swimmer? Michael Phelps. Who's the best dancer? Misty Copeland. What makes airplanes fly? The Bernoulli effect. How deep is the ocean? Google. And the best one of all so far, can dogs get married? No, I said. And they asked, well, then how can they have babies? Wonder comes so easily to us as children. And then we mysteriously lose it somewhere along the way. And wonder is a gift. Because all too often we are limited and constrained by our ingrained assumptions. Wonder helps liberate us from our patterns, helps us be creative, and helps us be free. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel taught me as an adult to wonder. He spoke to a society already obsessed with technology and materialism, and that was in the 1950s and 60s. And he wrote, "The beginning of our happiness lies in the understanding that life without wonder is not worth living. What we lack is not a will to believe, but a will to wonder. Our goal should be to live life in radical amazement, to get up in the morning and look at the world in a way that takes nothing for granted. Everything is phenomenal. Everything is incredible. Never treat life casually. And that is Kol Nidre's message. Never treat life casually. Live in radical amazement. Take nothing for granted. So tonight, God, we ask you to help us reclaim our childlike wonder. Help us ponder the infinite intricacy and complexity of God's creation. Open our eyes so that we might marvel at the many miracles of our lives. Yes, our precious growing children and grandchildren, but also the love of a spouse or partner, even when we may not deserve it. An unexpected act of kindness from a neighbor. Our lives are precious and full of wonder.
Then the child moved 10 times around the seasons, skated over 10 clear frozen streams. Words like, when you're older, must appease them, and promises of someday make their dreams.
When I learned this song in youth group, I thought it was advice for growing up. Something like, everyone wants to grow up quicker. Don't worry, you'll get there. Take your time. Now it seems to me that Joni Mitchell was really writing advice for grown-ups. As a congregant noted to me recently, when we are young, time seems unlimited. And many of us still approach time that way. We always think we will have more of it. We've all done it. Said we'll get together sometime. Made up an excuse to decline a friend's kind invitation. Or skipped an event whose timing wasn't quite convenient. We have the illusion that life is infinite, that we'll have another chance down the road, when the weather is better, when I'm not so tired. But then time slips away. We all know somebody whose someday never came. I know a woman who retired from her career and was full of plans for the next stage of life. Yet just 2 weeks later, her husband was diagnosed with a terminal illness that shaped the next decades. And some of us realize that we really should have asked our elders to tell us their stories while they still could. We all have regrets. Fortunately, many of us made a someday come true this year. Last winter, my brother and I took a special, long-awaited ski trip. On the very first day of my sabbatical, Haley and I went on our first vacation in 4 years. This summer, I rearranged my schedule on a weekday afternoon to get together with friends I hadn't seen in a long time. It nourished my soul. This night of Kol Nidre implores us, don't wait. Life is precious, and sometimes all too short. So this year, no more promises of someday. Whatever it is you want to do it now, lest someday never comes.
16 springs and 16 summers gone now. Cartwheels turn to car wheels through the town, and they tell them, take your time, it won't be long now. you drag your feet too slow, the circle down.
I'm 46 now. I know I'm not exactly young, but I don't feel old. Maybe that's because I'm trying my best to stave off age. I run often, and I love to play like a child with my kids in the pool. I try to be creative with our clergy and staff team. I guess we all have the urge to drag our feet to slow the circle down. But the thing with dragging your feet, it's futile. It only leaves us with scuffed shoes and injured toes. The circle continues on relentlessly, no matter what we do. There's an interesting figure in the Talmud known as Joni the circle maker. Once, as Joni was walking along, he saw a man planting a carob tree. Joni asked the man how long it would take for the carob tree to bear fruit. 70 years, the man responded. And do you think you will be alive in 70 years to eat its fruit? Joni asked. Perhaps not, the man said. But when I was born into this world, I found many carob trees planted by my parents and my grandparents. And just as they planted trees for me, I am planting trees for my children and grandchildren too. The circle never slows, but we can take our time, be supremely present, and plant for future generations. Generations now long gone, once gathered here, or places just like this, to say these same words that we do tonight, and to bask in these beloved melodies. And they dwell beside us tonight as memories. We are grateful for everything they planted for us. And one Kol Nidre night, years from now, if we are fortunate, our children and grandchildren will sit here, and they will remember us because we planted for them.
So the years spin by, and now the child is 20. Though their dreams have lost some grandeur coming true, there'll be new dreams, maybe better dreams, and plenty before the last revolving year is through.
Most of us can remember the dreams of our teens and 20s. By now, some of them may have lost a degree of grandeur. Others we have left behind or forgotten completely. But it's also true, as Cantor Cadrain said to me, that many of us discovered dreams we never even knew we had. Thus, in certain ways, our lives are better than we ever could have imagined. The earliest stories of our people hinge on dreams. Our ancestor Jacob leaves home for the first time, lies down for the night, and dreams. He comes to understand that God is with him, protecting him and his offspring through the generations. And years later, anticipating his reunion with his estranged brother Esau, Jacob again goes to sleep and dreams. In it, he wrestles, perhaps with an angel, perhaps with his own demons. And his name is changed to Israel, the one who wrestles with God. Jacob's son Joseph is ridiculed by his brothers. Here comes that dreamer, they say. And yet Joseph's ability to help others understand their dreams redeems him from prison, helps Pharaoh stave off famine, and enables Joseph to save his entire family. Yes, dreams enable our people's identity to be forged. Dreams enable our own stories to take shape. So what dreams came true for you this year? Maybe you sold your company, or accepted a dream job, or you finally freed yourself from a less than satisfying career and set off on a new path. Maybe you found or rediscovered love. Maybe you celebrated a wedding that you thought might never happen, or welcomed the birth of a child you once thought impossible. Kol Nidre prods us. Can we muster the courage and the hope to dream new dreams this year? Dreams of reconciliation, dreams of a new start, dreams of liberation. What new dreams will each of us bring into being this new year?
And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game.
Yes, the seasons go round and round, inexorably, inevitably. Never do we feel the carousel of time as keenly as we do tonight. Time for us Jews is cyclical. We scroll the Torah, reading the same sacred words year after year, but we find new meaning in them because while the words may be the same, we have changed. So too the familiar holidays, which give structure and rhythm to our lives. We inevitably find new depth in them year after year because we are different, older, wiser, battle-scarred, uplifted, renewed, and loved. In all the volumes of Jewish wisdom, there is very little about what happens after we die. The Jewish view of life after death is, we don't know. But that doesn't particularly concern us. We focus on the time we have, however long or short it may be. It's what we do with our time on earth here that matters. That's the Jewish view of life. The carousel goes round and round, but we are not captive, we're blessed. We hold, each of us, a single ticket, and yet but one wondrous, memory-making, dream-filled ride. So let's make it a good one.
And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return.